live here across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel and across the JAKIB Media Radio Network. Welcome in, everyone, to another special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show as we broadcast to you from our favorite spot. We're out at Screwballs in King of Prussia. Anyone from around the Philadelphia region quickly getting to understand what a great spot Screwballs is on a Thursday night. We're here every Thursday night live across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Of course, our special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff is to look ahead to the game on Sunday, Eagles-Broncos on Sunday. Before we get to that conversation, I do want to proudly begin the live broadcast tonight and send out a huge salute to all of the men and women who have served in the military on this Veterans Day. We salute and we say thank you to everyone. Someone tonight is going to leave Screwballs with a pair of tickets for the Army-Navy game this year. The game is on December 11th, and that game is up at MetLife Stadium. And we'll treat someone on behalf of a military veteran. Perhaps it will be a veteran who will win the tickets tonight at Screwballs. We'll do all of that on the Countdown to Kickoff show as we roll on here on a Thursday night. Full 60 minutes, great lineup. Luigi is here, Henry Racich is here, Dan Cilio from the National Football Show. We'll bring Dan into the conversation and have some conversation with Dan about the Eagles and the Denver Broncos. In the meantime, Howie Roseman is on his jet en route to take a look at Kenny Pickett tonight, and we'll talk about that. Luigi, and I'll come to you. I know you have some initial thoughts. I'll preface this conversation, and I learned this from John McMullen on Football 24/7, and frankly, I had forgot all about it. But the last recruiting trip that Howie Roseman went on was Carson Wentz back in 2016. Now Kenny Pickett moves to the front of the line as perhaps a designated or defined number one pick in the 2022 draft. Luigi, welcome into the Countdown to Kickoff show, sir.
Pleasure, Joe. And let me first off by saying that if Howie's there looking at a quarterback to pick a quarterback, he's doing the wrong thing. He should not be picking a quarterback in the first with any pick in this year's draft. He shouldn't be using any picks, and this is the reason why. So for years, I have always been a proponent for saying that draft picks are the same as casino chips, okay? They are the same exact thing as casino chips. They hold monetary value, okay? You have your $100 chips, your $1,000 chips, whatever they are. But they're not worth anything until you go to the cage and cash them in for actual proven commodity, for hard money, right? When I look at this year's draft, the Eagles are in a very, very, very opportunistic situation if you play smart and think a little outside the box. And here's what I mean. You have 3 first-round picks. This, you're looking at a Miami pick that's going to be possibly top 5, your own pick that's going to be top 10. And, the way this Indianapolis Colts thing is going, Carson Wentz is playing right now, I think, 99% of the snaps. So it looks like you're probably going to get that first-round pick as well. That'll be probably the later part of the first round. The Eagles have to fill a lot of needs. One of those big-time needs being defensive end, pass rusher. Henry's talked about this numerous times on the program. We have no pass rush coming off the edge whatsoever. If you're Howie Roseman, I'm taking those picks, and I'm not using them to go get unknown commodities in this draft and hoping they pan out. No. I'm taking picks, and I'm using them to get proven commodities for young players who are proven in the league already. Starting with a guy by the name of Nick Bosa in San Francisco. You're looking at a team that's going backwards out there, okay? Nick has still got 2 years left on a 4-year contract that he signed that it's still very team-friendly right now. They have the money to re-up him if they choose to do so. San Francisco, again, Shanahan and John Lynch went out there. They took Trey Lance, spent 3 number 1 picks to go get Trey Lance in the draft last year. He doesn't look like he's going to be the guy, not going to be the guy maybe for quite some time. I think they probably like to get one of those picks back. And if you can go out there and you can go offer a first-round pick for a guy like Nick Bosa, he cures a lot of problems on the defensive line. And he's still 24 years old and for 2 years under control. I think that's the kind of moves you need to be making. I think you need to be looking not in the draft, but what the draft can do for you by using the picks that you have in this year's upcoming draft.
Good start. Can't believe we're actually getting into a draft conversation.
That's the way the season's been going, Joe. I mean, come on.
I don't want to get down the rabbit hole on a draft conversation, but I like the point that Luigi's making. In the meantime, Howie Roseman is still out to see Kenny Pickett. So what are your thoughts,
Here's my take on that. We're in week 10, right? We're in week 10. You have a quarterback out here that, to me, from the outside looking in, it seems like they want to put so much on this guy. They want to put so much on this young quarterback. Like he's supposed to suddenly, in his sophomore year, turn into, a Joe Montana.
You're talking about Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. So this is what I don't like about it. He did the same thing to Carson Wentz when he brought Hurts in. So he likes to play games with these quarterbacks. Like, get behind one, shut up, and let the kid do his thing. Now, is he the top 10% quarterbacks in the league? No, he's not. All right, he's not. But is he performing? Is he the game last week? I watched the game from the second quarter on. I was like, whoever has this ball last is going to win the game because they both were scoring. Both offenses were moving the ball. Both defenses stunk. He couldn't stop anybody. So why he's talking quarterback right now, I agree with you. They should totally focus on the defensive side of the football because to me, that's the one of the three that aren't holding up their end of the deal right now. So the Eagles had no sacks last week. They had nobody. Herbert maybe got brushed a couple times. Their defense is, like we keep saying, a zone defense, prevent the big play. It's like watching arena football. They're okay with giving up points. Why? And the quarterback on their team, Hurts, is coming back and putting drives together. I don't see anything wrong. Nothing about him drives me crazy. I mean, nothing. His running lights me up, but nothing about his arm is weak. It's not like a big cannon.
Henry knew exactly where I was going to go with this.
But he's doing his job. The guy is doing his job. He's not the guy who's going to carry the whole team on his shoulders. But how many third and longs does he run and make it? How many third down conversions does this guy keep the drives going, keeping the defense on the sideline to rest, and then they come out and don't do anything?
Well, that's because Jonathan Gannon should be fined for conduct detrimental to the team every single week.
I don't like the games he's playing with his star quarterback right now by publicly going out and looking for another quarterback. On game 10.
I don't even know if Jalen Hurts cares about that right now.
I don't think anything bothers that kid.
No, I don't either. He's got all of the intangibles.
Plays with a chip.
I don't even think it's about the intangibles. I just think this kid's a professional. That's what he's doing. He's just being professional because whether or not it's going to be here, he's still showcasing whatever he can do for somewhere else he may go, and whether that be a starter somewhere else or a backup around the league, who it doesn't matter. The point is that he's going to go out there and do his job and perform to the best of his abilities, regardless of whatever Howie Roseman's doing, jet setting around the country looking at other quarterbacks.
All right, well, let's get out of that rabbit hole and focus in on Eagles Broncos. We'll play on Sunday. It's a 4:25 start. Mm-hmm. They're out in Denver. The Broncos, by the way, annihilated the Dallas Cowboys
sure did.
A week ago
did not see that coming.
In Dallas, to the point at one point in that football game, it was 30-0 Denver. Now, this is the same Denver Bronco team that at one point lost the 4 games in a row in the season. Mm-hmm. Vic Fangio was on the doorstep of, or at least potentially going to be fired. He's a great football mind, by the way, Vic Fangio.
Been around a long time.
Yeah, and just ask NFL insider John McMullen. He'll tell you all about it. But now this team is 5-4. They manhandled Dallas.
Traded their Hall of Fame DN.
Traded Von Miller. Right. They beat the Washington football team. They beat the New York Giants. The Eagles are the only team in the NFC East that they haven't played. They'll play them Sunday. Let me get some opening thoughts. Then we'll go to a break. Dan Sileo will join us, and we'll get some thoughts from him. Henry, start with you.
All right, so the upcoming game on Sunday. The Eagles are going into Mile High Stadium against the third-ranked defense in the league. Somehow the Denver Broncos have quietly become the number 3 defense in the league. Their secondary plays a lot of man, can lock down receivers, and they bring a lot of heat. So the legs are going to be needed this weekend more than ever for Hurts out there. The defense, they're playing a top 5 defense. So they're going to have it's not going to be like marching up and down the field on the Chargers. It's going to be a long day for this Eagles offense.
Luigi?
Well, Henry's going to talk about the defense side of the ball. I'm going to talk about the offensive side of the ball. It's been, Teddy game managing Bridgewater. Right. I know his last name. I was trying to segue into something silly. But, it's been, the thing on him is the same thing on Hurts. Doesn't have the deep ball. He's just going to dink and dunk. Well, guess what? He's not dinking and dunking. He's throwing the ball down the field to Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton, who's an absolute stud. Noah Fant, unbelievable over the middle. Melvin Gordon getting some life. And Javonte Williams, the young running back they have out there, they have a two-headed attack. This team is not only shutting people down defensively, they are dangerous on the offensive side of the ball. Look what they've been doing over the last several games. And they're just getting into a rhythm. They're getting into a rhythm, and it doesn't look like they're slowing down at all, Joe, at all. This is going to be a very difficult game for the Philadelphia Eagles to go up there. And I'm not giving a pick yet by any means or anything like that, but if you think you're going to go out there and just try to run this ball like we've done the past 2 games and maybe throw 17 passes off a play action and fool that Denver defense, you got another thing coming. So we better change it up a little bit.
Countdown to Kickoff show here across the JAKIB Media Network. We're broadcasting from our favorite spot on a Thursday night, Screwballs and King of Prussia. We'll take a commercial break. Back on the other side. And back here live on the Countdown to Kickoff show across the JAKIB Media YouTube network. As we come to you, it's our Countdown to Kickoff at our great spot on Thursday nights out in Screwballs. Dan Cilio from the National Football Show, who made his debut last week on the Countdown to Kickoff show. You'll hear him every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. He is Dan Cilio from the National Football Show. Dan Cilio joins us. Dan, great way to begin your show today, and I hope you don't mind me going down this road, but I'd love for you to at least share with us and with the audience, and perhaps you did on the National Football Show, but I want to share with the audience on location and all of the audience across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel some Veterans Day thoughts from you. I know it hits you home. It hits home for you, for your family. I welcome you in and I give you the floor, brother.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Joe, Veterans Day is an important day for this country because it's the greatest team in the history of our country. And it's men and women who go out and without a doubt just sacrifice everything. And for us and our family, it hits home because we lost our brother-in-law 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan. He was a person that I raised, not a very good background. And we're so proud with the fact that he went and served his country as a Ranger, was there as a EMT guy, was there in the foxholes with the guys who were being shot, who were being wounded. And that's all Dave was doing, was going there and protecting the soldiers while he was in the foxhole with those guys. And to lose him after serving 3 tours in Afghanistan, a day like this will always be something that we will remember him and honor him. And I'm so happy that, that we have such great memories of my brother-in-law. And believe me, on a day like this, it's more of an honoring than it is a day to be sad, because we know this right now. He stood for the greatest thing in our country. He stood for our pride and what America's all about.
Well said, well stated, and thank you for sharing with everyone, Dan, that story. Just great stuff. Appreciate it very, very much. Let's transition, if we can, and you don't mind having some football conversation, which I know you love to do. It's the Countdown to Kickoff show. We're preparing for Vic Fangio and the Denver Broncos on Sunday. I want to get some initial thoughts from you. This is a Broncos team at one point that lost 4. They destroyed the Dallas Cowboys a week ago. What are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts on what this football team, meaning the Philadelphia Eagles, need to do to win this game, Dan? There's a lot of struggle from the fan base in terms of trying to understand the method to the madness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Joe, this is what I think happened with the Broncos. I think after they initially went through the whole loss of Von Miller, it galvanized that entire locker room, because when you're in a locker room like that and you lose a player like a Von Miller, who is a legendary Bronco, a former Super Bowl MVP, it made everybody else in that locker room and on that roster go, okay, it's my time to step up. This is who we have going forward. And I promise you, Vic Fangio in that locker room, he's probably telling his players, look, my ass is on the line. Your ass is on the line. Von Miller's left. Guys, this is all about winning right now, the first quarter, the second quarter, third quarter. Don't worry about tomorrow. And they went out, and Joe, I'm telling you, that Bronco team, Teddy Bridgewater, if you're Matt Rule and you're in Carolina and you just signed Cam Newton today and you're giving up on Sam Darnold, I'd like to see if they'd like a mulligan, because that kid played his ass off against the Dallas Cowboys. He was the better quarterback on the field than Dak Prescott. He was not turning the ball over. He was accurate. And I'm telling you, that game was never competitive. I was talking to Greg Olson. He's one of my Canes brothers. And we were talking about, hey, the Cowboys are going to get this thing going. They never got that thing going. It was 30-0 at one time. And I'm telling you, Joe, going to Denver, it's a thing. The altitude, the whole deal with that, you're out of gas during warm-ups. That is one of the toughest places to play an NFL game. And you roll into that place there, I'm telling you, man, they got their hands full, because there's nobody in the AFC. If you're to tell me right now, pick a team in the AFC you feel comfortable saying going to the Super Bowl. Buffalo?
Titans. The Titans.
Okay, the Titans right now without Derrick Henry, really?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, well, again, I don't think that that's going to hold up. I actually think that they're going to walk back a little bit. I'll tell you this about the Titans, though. I agree with you, maybe the most underrated coach in the NFL in Mike Vrabel. But there's no way Ryan Tannehill's going to win you ball games when you have less than 200 yards in total offense last week, and you think you're going to continue that trend. There's no way. There's not enough offense on that side of the ball yet. My point is, with the AFC, there's a lot of teams with a lot of holes in it. So I think, really, you could put a bunch of teams, including the Titans, in a hat, pull them out, and they could be in the AFC title game. It's going to be a challenge for the Eagles to go to Denver.
Well, Dan, that's why I said the Titans is the first team that came popping into my head. This is Luigi, by the way, and it's because Denver is one of those teams, right? There's a complete, there's a myriad of teams that you can put in the hat to come out of the AFC, because it's just there's too many holes everywhere. And Tennessee, much like Denver, has been very consistent as of late. Even with King Henry going down, they've been the most consistent team in the AFC, I believe. And I still think that Julio's got to get going, right? And I'm sure, maybe he will in the second half. Again, it's a maybe, so who knows? But they're really good on the offensive line. They're really consistent and solid defense, which you need to be to move into the playoffs. Now, is Ryan Tannehill going to be a playoff caliber quarterback that's going to take you all the way? I don't know, but he hasn't exactly shown me that he's going to lose me a lot of games either. That kid's a competitor, man.
He is, but like I said, when you got a guy averaging 171 yards rushing behind you, you don't really have to go and put a lot of completions together and win ball games. You're right. That team is well coached. And is there any coincidence Jim Schwartz is in the building in Nashville?
No, not at all. Not at all.
On the defense. I mean, who in the Eagles front office didn't go like this? If you're still going to want to coach, why don't you hang around maybe and help out Jonathan Gannon a little bit here as a consultant? He's not like he's Zoom calling it too, guys. He's in the building with Mike Vrabel as an assistant kind of coach there on the coaching staff. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, I'd like to have had that consultant, because the Titans, like you said, they're playing lights-out defense right now. Again, you look around the landscape, though. I mean, are the Broncos in the conversation to be an AFC championship team? I don't know, because I look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, to me, in my opinion, they're falling apart in that old line. They can't tackle anybody. They've got many pre-snap penalties. They can't run the ball. That's not a Super Bowl contending team to me. And who would have thought that at the beginning of the year, that you would have been going like this? They're not really in the conversation today as a Super Bowl contending team with Patrick Mahomes, who you just gave a $500 million contract to.
Dan Sileo joining us here from the National Football Show, and also the Dan Sileo Show, syndicated across most major markets on the USA Radio Network. Dan, couple more minutes, couple more thoughts. I know, Henry, did you want to jump into the conversation? You didn't last week. Do you not like Dan Sileo?
What's wrong with it?
I'm listening to the knowledge here.
You're snubbing Dan Sileo.
Listen, you know, when someone's reading the Bible, you don't interrupt. You know, he's killing it. I'm just sitting here like, wow, he's making some great points.
Dan, we opened up the show tonight talking about Howie Roseman is on the move. The last time he was out on a recruiting trip was back in 2016 when he went to North Dakota to see Carson Wentz. Now he's out on the road to see Kenny Pickett. I'd love to just get some initial thoughts from you, in just if you will.
Okay. Howie Roseman's a used car salesman. That's what he is. And I will tell you why he is. How in the hell are you $21 million under the salary cap at the midway point of an NFL season? You're on a salary of a second-round, second-year player at the quarterback position. Your coach makes $2.5 million because you still owe 2 years on the Doug Peterson deal. Dude, $21 million on the cap, and you're looking at this guy, Sam Howell from North Carolina tonight, and the kid Pickett from Pitt. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is on pace right now for 3,900 yards, 320 completions, 23 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions. I'd love to see the completion percentage higher at 62. I'd love to have it around 65. He's on pace for a 92 quarterback rating, and a guy who's really in his first starting year with 995 yards rushing. There's not a guy in this draft, including kid from Liberty. Listen, there's no way in the world I'm going to package up something to try to get one of these guys. I'm not impressed with any one of these guys coming out into the college draft next April. But you see how he's a rock star, just like the owner, man. He loves movies. I got 13 draft choices or 11 draft choices. I'm $20 million under the salary cap. You know what? The Eagles love to win the offseason, don't they? They make more news in the offseason than they do during the regular season. We're now morphing towards talking about April 29th than we are talking about Sunday. That is why you can't run your team from your owner's box. When you do that, you're 3-6 with no hope of being anywhere in the conversation on winning an NFC championship. That team talks like they're the Buccaneers and acts like they're the Jaguars financially.
Yeah, see, Dan, the problem is that Howie is like, you know, a rock star and listens to rock music and all these things like that. The problem is it's indie rock, so no one knows what the heck he's talking about or what he's listening to or who these people are. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dude, seriously, man. So are you barking? So you know what? I said this yesterday, guys. Howie Roseman, everyone keeps asking me, how does he keep his job, Dan? Easily. He financially keeps the books intact for the owner. He is a monster success business-wise in the Eagle front office. He is crap over the last 4 years in his job. Now, did he get it right with Devontae? It looks like he did. But, dude, getting guys on the perimeter are not going to help you win when you're still trying to figure out your head coach and your quarterback, your running game, and your sorry-ass linebacker play.
Dan Sileo from the National Football Show across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Check it in. Dan, if you ever call, if you ever join us on the Countdown to Kickoff show, I promise we'll get the self-professed king of the coaching world, Henry Racich. We'll get him engaged in the conversation.
Hey, he's preaching, man. He's preaching. I'm out here waving the palms.
Good stuff, Danny. Appreciate it, brother.
Hey, wait a minute, Joe. Maybe you should get him some of your vodka, man. Maybe that'll loosen him up a little
You
bit.
don't want that. You know, I need my own show after that.
Yeah. The juice is loose takes a whole new meaning with Henry.
Yeah.
Takes a whole new meaning.
Good stuff from Dan Sileo here on the Countdown to Kickoff show with Luigi and Henry Racich. I'm Joe Krause. We'll take a break. Back in a moment. And back here live on a Thursday night, a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. As we come to Screwballs, we're warming up the crowd a little bit. Great.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there, Joe.
Nice, special thanks to Dan Sileo from the National Football Show for joining us. Let's unpack a little bit of our conversation with Dan Sileo. He likes Jalen Hurts. I don't want to get into that discussion as much as the game itself. I really want to know what this offense is going to do against the Denver Broncos. Now, you heard Dan reference how challenging it is to play because of the air and everything else.
Sure.
It sounds like it's real.
No, that's real. That playing there is like the equivalent of running with, they have masks that you can wear to simulate high altitude.
Yeah, I use them.
Unless you've done it, you're a runner.
Yeah,
that's right. So unless you've done that, it's hard to explain, how you have half of your lung capacity.
Well, what is it? What is it like? What do you mean?
The altitude. So the air's thinner, and it's harder to catch your breath because the air's thinner. You have to breathe more, breathe heavier.
Your lungs are working overtime, Joe, on a consistent basis. If you're not completely acclimated to that type of elevation, like when you wear the elevation masks, right? A lot of people will wear them when they're training for mountain climbing, right? Or they'll train them to just get
MMA guys and boxers
to get higher lung capacity. I use it as a long distance runner myself. It makes the air, like Henry said, it makes the air thinner, so it makes it harder for you to get more oxygen into your body and be able to consume that oxygen, so you're able to expel and keep moving forward. So
recovery is a problem.
It's harder to catch your breath once you're out. I mean, again,
probably a fundamental question, but now I'm going to ask anyway. How hard is it? You're flying across country. You're going into Denver. You're playing a 4:25 game. How difficult is it for the team? Dan Sileo said the guys are sucking wind in pregame warmups.
Well, I'm sure they train for it.
Yeah.
You guys will have your elevation. They have these elevation masks forever.
Simulate.
No, but you'll wear the elevation masks.
Yeah, it's just hard to. I mean, the masks are the closest thing to a simulation. So our boxers, we do that. Sometimes they go to the mountains for high altitude training.
Correct.
So your lungs I don't know if they become stronger, but when you come down after you've trained at a high altitude, you recover faster. Your oxygen, the recovery is the problem. So it's almost like if you threw a 10-pound weight vest on your body in a half hour and then try to run around and do what you normally would do.
If Fletcher and Javon Hargrave and
if they're not getting home in the first quarter, they're not getting home in the fourth.
It's going to be a long day.
That's all there is to it. You're going to see them every time there's a break. Forget the water guy running water out. They'll probably be running oxygen tanks out to the big boys. And this is the problem. That front four that they've depended on, built their reputation for defense.
There's no depth.
They're not getting home.
And there's no depth.
And not one sack last week. Yeah. So they're not getting home. Couple that with a mediocre secondary. Slay's your number one guy. He's your shutdown guy. I don't know how many number one receivers he has completely shut down since his inauguration into the Eagle locker room. Who has he shut down?
Not many.
Nobody. He hasn't shut anybody down.
And he's got Cortland Sutton this week, which is not exactly an easy matchup. This is a 2-year pro. Came out in his rookie year last year, was playing really well, and he's their main number one wide receiver, and Slay's going to be on him. But the problem is, it's not Slay that I'm worried about. It's the fact that Jerry Jeudy's back, and he's 100% right now, and he's going to be playing in the slot next to Tim Patrick, and he can kill you down the field. He can absolutely kill you down the field. And as far as nickel corners, any of our nickel corners sticking with him, I don't like our chances with that. So it's going to be a little tough.
Getting back to what you opened the show with Roseman going and look at these quarterbacks. This is smoke and mirrors. This is the things that annoys me about him. Like, why are you even doing that right now? Why is it publicly happening? Why are you letting your number one starting quarterback right now? Why do you have that floating in his head going on the road to go play Denver? It's games. I don't like his gamesmanship. I don't like how he handles.
By the way, he's not the only one that's going to Pittsburgh.
No, exactly.
Well, no, but I mean, it's him getting out of his office. Look, I'm going to go to work. I'm working. I'm always trying to make this team better. I think it's smoke and mirrors.
Well, don't forget the fact that because they have those picks up top, it is smoke and mirrors because you got to get other GMs going. Well, maybe I got to jump up in front of the Eagles. Maybe I got to make a move. Maybe I got to offer this. It's like, oh, hey, we're at least doing so we can say we're at least doing our due diligence.
Right.
At the least is what he's saying. For me personally, I think he's just wasting, frequent flyer miles. That's just me. I mean, you got to catch him in before the year's out.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts is like, if I'm a coach, I'm a football coach, right? I'm looking at him. I'm not looking at him as my problem. I'm looking like if I had a quarterback problem,
no, he's
I'd
not
be focused on that all the time because you need to fix that problem first, right? For your offense to move. He's not. I'm not looking at him. I'm not looking to just mess with him. I'm not looking to distract him.
You're not looking at his accuracy and saying
I'm not worried about that right now. I'm not worried about all that. That stuff can get worked on. It can get fixed. There's things, there's throwing mechanics. You can work on that and fix all that in the offseason. There's things you can't fix. There's intangibles that he brings that he's got his God-given talent, his legs, his instincts in the pocket, knowing when to go, knowing where the sticks are, knowing we're in man coverage. As a young quarterback, I'm gonna break up the middle because all the D-backs backs are to me right now. There's things this kid is doing that are intangibles that you can't mark on a piece of paper. Messing with him, talking about other quarterbacks, he did the same thing to Wentz, and Wentz couldn't handle it. Now he's doing it again. He's doing it to Jalen Hurts this time, but it's not going to bother Jalen Hurts. He's been Alabama. He's a proven winner. The kid is so much better than people are giving him credit for. Every day I hear people dogging his arm strength, dogging. All right, he has an 8 arm. We say 8. He's not a 9 or 10.
It's not a plus arm. It's an adequate arm. It's adequate.
On a scale of 1 to 10, he's not a 6. He's not. Average is a 7. That's a C. I'm going to say he's a B arm. He has a B arm, but he's got an A Intel football IQ. He's got A+ legs, and he's a leader. They rally around this kid. All right, so the offense is not my problem at all. I don't have any problems, major problems with this offense. It's going to mature as he matures. The defense drives me crazy to watch them get dinked and dunked all the way up the field.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is that you were saying, that he's not your problem. He's not your solution, but he's also not your problem. So he's not the focus of this draft. The quarterback should not be the focus of this draft. The focus of this draft has to be on the other side of the football because that's where your entire problem is. Because again, that Chargers game last week, that offense didn't lose the game. That defense lost the game.
Yep.
That offense, the Philadelphia Eagles, if that was
they went tit for tat.
If that defense was even middle of the road, the Eagles win that game by double digits.
There's no stopping power in this football team. There's no defense. There's no identity on defense. Fletcher Cox is not having a great year. Hargrave started strong. Where's he been? They're not getting the quarterbacks. That's all there is to it. You can't. Defense wins championships, right? That always drives me crazy because I'm an offensive coordinator. But defense wins championships. You have a very average defense right now.
I don't even know if I'd give them average.
I mean, they're the weakest link on the field. They're the weakest link on the team is the defense.
Coming out of training camp, you go back into the beginning of the 2021 season, and we did multiple hours, multiple shows, hour after hour of coverage. Our training camp special, our training camp daily reports from NFL Insider, John McMullen, our game balls every day from training camp. And if you go back and you look at any of that stuff, it's on tape. You go back and you look at it, the defense dominated much of the time.
Yeah, but that's on tape and on paper. It's not against live NFL action on the field when it actually matters.
I get that, but
when you say dominated, the discussion, you mean as the strongest part of the team?
Yeah, it's the strongest part of the team.
I disagree. I mean, listen, when you have Fletcher Cox and you have Slay, you got some big names on that defense.
You got Josh Sweat, you have Javon Hargrave,
you got big names. But
Brandon
the schemes, you could have the Pittsburgh Steelers steel curtain names on the field. If you're not scheming them, it doesn't matter what names are on the field. You know what I mean? They're a passive secondary. Let them catch it up front. They're a passive secondary. They don't blitz. They're a passive football team on defense. Passive. Period. No one's afraid to come play the Eagles. No one's afraid to come to line up against the Eagles defense. You know?
Because they're not getting any pressure on you. And I got to even question a guy like Fletcher. I'm not calling out or anything, but I'm just starting to question guys like Fletcher Cox. How much effort are we really giving here? I mean, if we checked out, is he checked out? I mean, we're talking about natural, raw ability alone. This man should have half a dozen sacks. Natural, just raw ability alone. I'm talking about just clock in, go to work, don't even have to work hard, just fall into 6 sacks a year.
When is the last time the Eagles defense didn't have a sack?
This is what I'm saying. Where's the effort up front? I mean, how much effort is really being put in? Maybe these guys are just checked out. Well, if it were true that Fletcher Cox checked out, I would say maybe when he spoke out at the press conference, which was the game before the Chargers, I believe. Whenever it was, doesn't matter. He spoke out.
I believe it was the Oakland game. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, the Vegas Raiders game.
Yeah, the Vegas Raiders game. Then the trade deadline came. There was all kinds of conversation that, hey, they're going to move Fletcher.
Right.
The Steelers were interested in Fletcher. And then they didn't move him. They weren't able to move him. Whatever reason, they decided not to move him. And now Fletcher is an Eagle.
Maybe he's disgruntled.
Eagle green.
Maybe he's disgruntled. You never know that. I mean, you got a veteran, right? I mean, Ricky said it the best. For who, for what? I mean, the team's not going anywhere this year, right? What's the point? He doesn't like the defensive coordinator. He's blatantly said that out in public. He's not agreeing with the scheme at all. He's basically just walking on the field going, yeah, all right, whatever. Call hike. Let's go. I think these guys are human, too. They're not just robots. They have feelings. They have emotions. They feel spiteful. They feel resentful. They're going to act like it.
Paid a lot of money to get to the quarterback.
He's still getting paid regardless whether he's getting to the quarterback or not. That contract's guaranteed for this year. They can sit him down. He's still getting paid. He's not hurt. He's not doing anything detrimental to the team. He's not breaking any rules. Hey, coach, I'm sorry. I just didn't get there. They had me. He was the better guy on this play. What am I going to do? Maybe call a better scheme.
Countdown to Kickoff show across the JAKIB Media Network. We're at Screwballs, or we're at Screwballs every Thursday night. We'll take a commercial break. Back on the other side. And back here on the Countdown to Kickoff show from Screwballs. Good show tonight.
Fantastic.
We finally got the crowd a little bit.
Look, they're
into
almost
the
awake. They're almost awake. That guy back there is awake.
Yeah, we got some
These
fans
two are
in there.
awake.
Joe, I think it was a combination of us and the bartenders. I think that's what really did it in right there. I think that was the combination of us and the bartenders getting everybody awake and loose and ready to keep going for this final segment here.
What do you think, Ken?
I think they need some birthday shots with me.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
That redhead will lead it all right there.
Dude, how old are you now?
25.
25.
52.
52.
52.
Good stuff. Our final
52.
segment on the Countdown to Kickoff show is the
AARP.
Can we zero in here?
You know how distracted we get at our age, Joe.
I know. Can we zero in? I want to do 9 minutes on the game on Sunday.
Okay.
The Countdown to Kickoff, we're going to lead into the pregame show on the JAKIB Media Network. We're going to go to John McMullen in Mile High. We're going to have all kinds of pre-show planning for the game on Sunday. Let's begin in the final 9 minutes of our live show here tonight at Screwballs.
This week's game. So, the good news for Denver is they snuck up on Dallas and shocked the world. The bad news is they can't sneak up on anybody now. Eagles are coming to town. They're probably watching that tape ad nauseum. Do they have the ultimate home field advantage? Yes, they're a mile high in the sky. That's hard to simulate and duplicate on 6 days' notice, meaning the Eagles coming into town. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to get in better shape to be able to play at that altitude. But I just think with this defense not showing up, not getting stops, the Eagles are going to have this was a game everyone talked about. We can go to Denver and win. I heard that all at the beginning of the season when they start checking the games that you could possibly get away with. This was one that was a win on a lot of people's schedules and calendars. Now I think that's a big question mark. And it's going to take a total team effort, meaning if the defense does not show up again, they're going to drop the game. That's all there's to it.
You're also looking at the fact this defense, right? So you're looking at a very passive defense, as you like to call them, and accurately, I will admit, accurately called them. I put my glasses on for this segment so I can seem a lot more, intellectual going into this. Yeah, I'm looking deeper into this now, so I can see more clearly. And again, you have a very passive defense against a traditionally passive quarterback who's not going to just go over the top and beat you, but will just absolutely murder you, dinking and dunking you, game managing Teddy over there. I think this game is going to be a slow bleed for this Eagles defense because they're not going to have to go over the top. They can just pick up 7-8 yards here. They have two interchangeable running backs to put in at any time with Williams and Gordon. Run the ball with no problem against this front. We've seen that many a time against many of opponents for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Teddy doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make mistakes. He's got three, I don't want to say outstanding. He's got one outstanding and two very good other wide receivers and a very good tight end in Noah Fant over the middle of this field too to exploit this non-existent linebacker core the Philadelphia Eagles have for the past 10 years. So for me, if you're looking for a way for this Eagles team to win this game, again, we've said it numerous times on this program and numerous times over the course of this season, you got to throw caution to the wind. You just got to go after Teddy. You just got to fire blitzes. You just got to keep coming at him.
Well, it depends what Bronco team shows up. Now, if that team that played last week against Cowboys shows up in the first quarter, it's a wrap. If they have the hangover, they're happy, they beat a contender, they knocked off Dallas. We're great.
Maybe they're smelling themselves a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe there's a letdown after that, but you're going to find out in the first couple series what Denver's coming
Let's
with.
get a couple of minutes of conversation on the head coach, because we have not spoken at all. I don't think we've mentioned Nick Sirianni's name at all here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. He's calling the offense.
Well, fortunately for him, there's enough bad things around him to take the light off of him once in a while. And when he says, we have everything we need here now, I have a hard time not laughing out loud.
You lose me
when he says that, because you don't. First of all, you don't have everything that you need right now, because you don't have a linebacker, you don't have a quarterback sacking, you don't have a defense. So how do you have everything you need right now? So you're saying we have everything we need right now. Is he talking about player personnel only, or is he talking about coaching staffs and coordinators? Because if they had everything they need right now, they would not be 3-6.
Do you think Nick Sirianni's opened up the playbook?
As much as he can right now, yeah.
Well,
I'm sure he's opened it. He's looked through it probably a couple times, right?
When you say that, as much as he can, what do you mean by that?
Well, I start with my quarterback. So I think that he is grooming this kid week to week and opening that book up a little more every week. Will ever get open this whole entire season? Everything he would do with the dream quarterback, with the dream receiver, with the dream line, with the dream running back, is it ever going to be opened up all the way in this season for the Eagles? I don't think so. I don't think they have the personnel that he claims everything we need. This guy's quote: sometimes they're very clever, but sometimes if you're a coach and you're in the business, they're just dumb.
Okay, so I'll ask this question then. I won't even ask this question. I'll just post this point. Let's just say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, he has this playbook, right? And it's got 100 pages in it. Right now, he's going through about, let's say 10 pages. He's got 10% of the playbook going in. Let's say he brings in, with this exact personnel he has, Rager, Watkins, Smith, Miles Sanders, offensive line, everything it is the way it is on the offensive line of the ball, but you subtract Jalen Hurts and you add Russell Wilson. What happens?
Nothing.
Really? You don't think so? You don't think that play? You don't think that?
First of all, Russell Wilson's not going to come in here.
No. I understand that. I understand that. Right. I understand it. I'm saying, let's just say you add a quarterback out there who has the requisite arm to be an NFL quarterback. Okay, the above-average arm, who has all the other intangibles that Hurts has, but also has the ability to run 100% of that playbook. Then what happens?
Well, then you go with the playbook. But
because then I do believe he does have enough on the offensive side of the ball. That's what I do believe.
No, he does not have enough. If you bring Russell Wilson in and you have a high-end, we don't know what his playbook is, first of all. We're assuming he has some amazing
playbook. This may be it. This may be the entire playbook.
This might be his capital.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's all I'm doing.
So what I'm saying is this. If you bring the greatest quarterback that ever played and put it in this offense, does the playbook open up more? It could open up more for that one guy. That doesn't mean everybody else is ready to open up.
No. That's that was my point. My point was not the fact that does it open up just for the quarterback. Of course it opens up for the quarterback because that person can handle the magnitude of the playbook, right, and do everything that he wants him to do. Is the offense, does he have the offensive weapons and do those weapons enable him to open up and function inside of that playbook and do everything it's supposed to do, or quote unquote could and should do? That's the big question. Right. That's the big question is this guy's offense, is his entire scheme, is it good enough?
Well, the reason why I question how much he's opened it up is because as of late, the last couple games, he got bit with the run bug. Now he's
two
running
games in a row? That's a little predictable now, man.
He's running the ball. People were screaming at him for 4 weeks to a month and a half. Run the ball, run the ball.
This is spiteful actions right here.
Do you think he like suddenly was like, oh my God, we're a really good running team? I think he's discovering things about this team and this offense, what he can do, what he can't do as he's going along. I'm telling you, he's just salt, pepper, this, that. Because the boats, he's trying to keep the boat afloat, right?
But what's amazing is, though, he's just figuring this out now when his number one running back is on the shelf and he's been available the entire time. I think this is his way of being passive-aggressive to this fan base.
So if he's saying we have everything we need right here in-house, why are they losing?
Because the defense stinks.
then you don't have everything you need.
No, that's what I knew.
So stop saying things like that. That's my point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, him,
stop
yeah.
saying things like we have everything we need here. You do not. It's obvious. We just saw, you're giving up 35 points a game. How can you say we have everything we need in this building? You're either saying we need better players or you're either saying we need better coaching. So when you say that and you have a record like this, that's what you're saying. But you don't realize you're saying it.
When he says things like that, I don't even listen because I don't encourage bad behavior. I just don't do that as a human being. I don't do that. Like when he said that, that was the most just like
a flower.
It was just a huge slap in the face to every single person who not only watches this team, but covers the team, to the people who work for the team, to everybody underneath of him as the head coach of this football team, to say, we have everything we need. And then you look at the standings and you watch these games and you go, are you watching the same thing? Are we on the same planet here, Nick? This is the guy who's driving the ship?
As the head coach says, we have everything. If I'm a head coach, I'm going, I have everything we need. That's a 10-0 dude talking. I got everything I need. I got the defense coordinators. I got everything's firing on all cylinders. You're in to make that kind. Every time he makes a statement like that, I'm like, man, he just should shut it down.
All right, let's get your picks and predictions on the game on Sunday. Eagles, by the way, still in a playoff race.
So am I. So am I, Joe. Technically, so am I.
Playoffs.
Talking playoffs.
Let's let the birthday
talk
boy
about practice.
Make the pick first. Go ahead.
I'm going to have to go with Denver. They're home field advantage, coming off the big win. They've owned the NFC East so far. I'm going to go lower scoring game, 24-17.
I agree with you.
24-17. The defense can't stop a nosebleed, and they're just going to wear out. The altitude's going to get to them.
Yeah, I agree with Henry a 1,000,000% on this. A low-scoring game, same thing. I can't see the Eagles really moving the ball too fast and furious against this Denver Broncos defense. It'll be a difficult.
They're tough.
It's going to be difficult to matriculate this ball up and down the field against them. It really is. And I do think that Denver is going to sit back and they'll be able to run the ball. They won't have to hit these home runs because, again, last week they played Dallas as a high-powered offense, so they have to score and make sure they're able to get the ball down the field. I don't think they have to do that this week against Philadelphia. 24-16.
Ooh, we shaved the point.
Denver.
Have to do it, Joe.
Countdown to kickoff show from Screwballs and King of Prussia.
No pick for you?
I gave my pick last week.
And it went completely just...
It was a good game.
It was a good game.
Close.
It was a good game.
Close.
I wanted...
And the Bolts.
Now, what we got, Joe? You wanted what?
Flexing up here. He's like the Bolts.
I wanted the defense to let them score.
They only had to show up.
No, I wanted the defense
stop,
to
Joe.
let them score on that last drive so they could get the football back.
And I want 76. That's to be packed every time I drive up here. But that's not going to happen, Joe.
That's the only. That was our only chance. Let them score.
I don't know. Listen, I literally said to my son, I was like, whoever has a ball last is going to win this. Because they were just going back and forth scoring. Both defense stink. Scoring. And the Chargers ended up with the ball last. And that's how they got the win.
And right now, let's get into it. Right now, it looks like the last several weeks of the season, we're going to be watching a lot of just competitive losing football. That's what it looks like right now. It's going to be they're going to be in these games, but I don't think they're going to get many W's out of them. That's what I. That's
any team that's in the upper 25th% echelon in the NFL is going to handle the Eagles easily. Anyone under that threshold, they're going to compete. And it's going to come down to getting stops, and they just are not getting stops. I wish I could pull the stat up of their average points given up per game. It's got to be 30 in the 30s,
it's
right?
High, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You can't win football games giving up 35 points every single week. Your offense can't come out and scores 5 touchdowns every single week just to keep pace.
As we say goodbye on the Countdown to Kickoff show, along with Luigi and Henry, we pause one more time to be able to recognize our veterans and all of the men and women who have served. We end our show saying thank you. See you next time, everybody.
Go Air Force. Did I get that in?